Hey, what's up? My name is Catherine and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing 3 looks using the Colourpop Bare Necessities palette, the nice neutral 30 pan palette that they launched on Thanksgiving. Yeah, it was Thanksgiving, not Black Friday, right? Yeah. So this launched on Thanksgiving. It was $30 for the first week of its launch, and now the price has been raised to $34. I do this look, I do like the very soft rosy look that I had on in Thursday's video, and I do one more like intense smoky glam look. And then at the end, I will be sharing my thoughts with you on the palette as well. If you've maybe been considering getting it, I'll just let you know how I feel about it and what made me buy it. And I believe that's everything. If you're new here, I'd love to have you subscribe. I have some fun videos planned for the month of December, and I am running a giveaway right now. It does end the day that I post this at midnight, so you should have a couple of hours to enter once I post this. And if you missed the giveaway, don't worry. I do have more giveaways coming in December, but I will leave that linked in the description box as well. And let's go ahead and get started. Alrighty, so I'm priming my eyes with my usual Milani eye primer. But I am going to do something that I haven't done in quite a bit today, and that is set my eye primer. I was looking back at old pictures and I realized how much more blended my makeup looked, like effortlessly, back when I used to set my eye primer. So we're giving it a go today. I might just go into both full expose and in the buff just a little bit. And I'm using that giant BH number 11 brush that I use like all the time, and I'm just tapping that down all across my lids. The idea of doing this is like super similar to just placing down a transition shade, but it's instead like all over the lid, so you have something to blend into everywhere you place shadow down. And now I'm gonna go into this shade All For You, which is a very nice dusty sort of mauve shade right there. And I'm using an AOA Studio E126, which is just a nice standard round, very fluffy brush. And I'm holding this by the end, so it's very light strokes and doing very big sweeping swirling motions to just nicely dust this into the outer corner and pull it over into the crease just a little bit. I never mind not having a mirror on a palette when I'm not filming, because I can just like get up close to my actual mirror on my desk, but when I'm filming it's so much more annoying. So it's like a super blown out, just a light little wash of Dusty Rose. Now I'm going into this shade Act a Fool, which is just a little bit of a darker matte mauve. And I'm using my Colourpop, what is this? E2 brush. I actually don't have a lot of Colourpop brushes. I don't know why, I just kind of never got around to buying them. But the brush roll that got released with this palette does actually look really nice. I don't need an entire brush set at the moment, so I didn't get that. So I'm kind of starting putting this in the outer corner with like these nice light back and forth strokes, and then pulling it out into the crease, but not quite as far. And I'm doing more of the windshield wiper motions than big swirling motions, so just like a nice back and forth. And I stop about at the inner part of my iris. That's normally where I stop placing down darker shades, even though this isn't really that dark of a shade. And once that's nicely placed, I'm just gonna do a couple nice light swirlies to make sure that's all nice and blended. And now I'm going into Taboo, which is the most cool toned matte dark brown in this palette. And I'm using this little lime crime, I can never pronounce that right, blending brush. It has these fun little sparkles in it. And I only am doing 2 taps, and I'm tapping off the excess powder as well. And I'm tapping this into the outer corner, like way outermost part of the corner, and tapping it up a little bit into the crease. Probably stopping like right at the outer part of my iris. And I'm going back in with that Colourpop E2 brush, just one more tap of Active Fool, and very lightly swirling that around the edges of Taboo. I just want to make sure the pinkiness of the look isn't getting overpowered by the dark brown, but I did want a little bit of definition in the eye. I wanted to have the glam part and soft glam still there. And I'm going to bring Active Fool just a little bit over on the lid as well. We're going to be going over this with a shimmery shade in just a moment. So for a shimmer, I'm going to be using Silk Teddy. I'm so excited about this shade. It just looks so gorgeous. Like, look how reflective that is on camera. I don't even think you can like really see what the shade actually looks like. I'm going to like hold it over like this maybe a little. Does that help? Yeah, like look how like much that shifts when it's not catching the light, but it has like a pinky base, it looks like, but it's like very, oh my god, that's so ultra metallic. I really like very textured shimmer shades, and Colourpop's formula tends to give me that, and this is just like such a nice color. Like, I love the like pinky rosy base to it. So I have that on my finger. Like, that's insane. And I'm just tapping that only on the center of the lid. And I'm hoping that as this like shears out on my finger, it kind of just helps it shear out at the edges too. So once there's not very much left on my finger, then I'm tapping over the rest of the lid. But I really want it to just be like ultra concentrated in that center of the eye, almost like we're doing a halo eye, but it's not quite because we don't have that like inner corner color. I feel like I'm like so annoying being like shook over this neutral metallic shade, but I just like, if you've watched my channel a while, you know like how picky I am about my textured shimmers, and I think it's really incredible how much Colourpop comes through for like such a low price with their shimmer formulas. And just for the sake of the blend, I'm giving this one nice swirl with my BH number 11 brush as well. And that's all we're doing for the upper eye. I'm going to be doing some lashes today because I just really like the look of lashes with like very neutral eyeshadow. So fingers crossed that I can actually get them on, and I'll be right back for the under eye. Alright, for my under eye, I'm doing like the really lazy thing where I just like take the brush I already used on my upper eye and pinch it. So this has that like mid-range dusty shade on it, and I just run it along the under eye. This is really such a good like when you're in a hurry, even though I'm not in a hurry. Like, see how that's just given like a nice blended wash of rose under the eye? Love that. And I'm just doing a little mascara under my eye. And I want my inner eye highlight to match up with my face highlight, which is Colourpop Flexitarian. And I don't want a lot of it, so I'm going in with a really teeny brush and just kind of popping that there. And this is the final look. Alrighty, so I'm using my Milani eye primer as per usual. And I'm going to be setting this with a combo of Full Expose and In the Buff again. So I just set that with my usual BH number 11 brush. And I'm going to take that same brush and go into both On Holiday and Banter. These are two very light, cool-toned taupe shades. And I'm going to use these as my sort of transition shade today. And once that's on all nicely, I'm going to go into this shade, which is Velveteen. It's a very like medium to light, still cool toned taupey shade. And I'm using a BH Cosmetics Studio Pro number 5 for that. And I'm just like gently swirling that all into the crease and outer corner. I I always hold my brush by the end when I want a good blend because it helps you very lightly brush along your eyelid. And I'm just doing like big swirlies to place that down. And I'm going to go into the shade Taboo, which is the deepest cool toned brown in the palette. I think it might just be the deepest brown in the palette, period. And this is a Luxie 299 brush. It's a little bit smaller, but still very fluffy. And this is also going in outer corner and crease. I'm working to be very light and gentle with this, and I'm not really bringing it further than the inner part of my iris. And I'm just going back in with that BH number 5, no new product, swirling around the edges of that. And I'm just going to build up Taboo just a touch more. I'm just sort of tapping that into the crease. And going over those edges again. Alrighty, and I'm going to be doing a cut crease. I'm going to use my Colourpop Pretty Fresh Concealer because it's what I already have out. And this is a Real Techniques lip brush. It's a really tall, not tall, small, flat little paddle brush. Once that's carved out, I'm going into this shade Prefix, which is a very lovely, shimmery, sort of bronzy taupe shade. It's very nice and deep. And this is an AOA Studio E131, which is a like flat concealer brush. And I'm gonna spray that brush too, just to help with fallout. So normally when I do shimmer shades along the crease, I use like a brush like this to kind of really get along that line, and then I'll sometimes use a fluffier brush if I feel I need it to really emphasize that shimmer, but I don't think I'm gonna need it with this. I'm gonna go into the different flat brush to just get a little bit more of a precise edge. This one's from Bobbi Brown. My aunt gave it to me. There you go. It's just a little thinner, which helps right along that edge. And I'm gonna do like a smoked out liner today. So I'm gonna kind of place down a little bit of a base for the liner. I'm going into the shade Baubles, which is a deep cool tone brown, but it has just a little bit of shimmer to it. I'm hoping the shimmer doesn't show up on camera. This is just a flat liner brush, and I'm kind of just putting that along the eye, a little like above where I'm going to be putting that liner. This is just going to be like, hopefully it'll help blend it as I put that liner down and then go over it with a black shadow. Alrighty, and I'm using a Tarte eyeliner today. This is the Tarte Double Take eyeliner. I was going to use my Colourpop one and I have no clue where I put it, so... And I'm going into Spyglass, which is the dark black matte, dark black, obviously it's dark if it's black. It's the matte black in the palette, and I'm just using the same liner brush from Alamar, Recycling. And I'm just kind of like shimmying that along the edge of that eyeliner to give it a smoky, blended look at the edge. And just for a little extra blend, I'm going into Taboo and Baubles again on the Luxie brush that I used earlier. And I'm just going into the corner right above that wing and just tapping that down. And I'm taking this clean Luxie 121 mini tapered brush, and I'm also just running that along the top of the wing and black shadow. And that's it for the upper eye. I'm gonna pop on some lashes, do my face makeup, and I'll be back. Alrighty. My eyelashes are a little wonky like usual. Will I ever learn? No. So I'm going back into Spyglass with that Alamarlo liner brush, and I'm running this on the under eye, and I'm kind of connecting that to that wing at the top. I'm actually kind of putting this over top of my lower lashes as well as under. And I'm taking that Luxie brush that I used for Taboo, and what was this one called again? Baubles. And I'm not adding in any product, I'm doing like the pinchy thing that I do. And I'm going to take that Luxie 121 brush. Oh my god, you can see Charlotte like rising up in the background. Hi. So I'm going into Velveteen very lightly, tapping off the excess. And I'm running that along the entire under eye. I'm actually going to pop just a little bit of this shade Silk Teddy into the inner eye. I don't know if this is going to work as an inner eye highlight or not. It might be a little dark. So if it's too dark, I'll just go over it with another highlight. Alright, that one's not super highlighty, so I'm going to go over it with this very used one from the Colourpop I Think I Love You palette. Kind of wish they still made this palette because it slaps, not gonna lie. And this is the final look. A nice bronze smoky eye, perfect for the holidays, perfect for parties. Yeah. Alrighty, I'm priming with the Milani eyeshadow primer again. Surprise, surprise. I am actually kind of surprised that Colourpop has never made an eye primer, but I guess so many people use the no filter concealer as eye primer that they just kind of feel like they don't really need to. And I'm gonna set with full expose and in the buff again. I've just really been liking how easily everything blends when I have set my eye primer. I like used to do this every time I did my eyeshadow, and then like everyone on YouTube was like, no, setting eye primer is bad. So I was like, oh, okay, I guess setting eye primer is bad. And then I realized that I should just do what I like when I do my makeup. Alright, I'm gonna go into this shade Hustler, which is like a slightly more peachy, still very, very light nude shade. I don't know if this is really gonna make a huge difference putting this on my lid or not. And this is my trusty BH Studio Pro number 16. Yeah, that kind of shows up. So I'm doing a halo eye today. So I'm just like really, really, really lightly dusting this into the inner and outer corner. And I'm gonna go into the shade Oat, which is like, you know, like a rusty red. And I'm using this Alamar Cosmetics blending brush, doing really light back and forth strokes in the inner and outer corner. And I just want that color to be a little more intense, like on the actual lid in the inner and outer corner. So I'm gonna take this BH Studio Pro 17, which is like small and a little more dense. I'm just going to that same shade and just kind of packing that on there a little bit, but only on the lid, because I still don't have that like nice, very blown out look at the top. And I'm gonna go into this shade Designer Duds with my fingers. This is like a copper almost, I would say, but it's like a peach, like almost like a light coppery or like a very, very warm toned pink shimmer. And I'm popping that right on the center of the lid. And this is kind of looking like super similar to the Halo Eye I did with the Dream Street palette 2 weeks ago. So going into Fuzzy, which is a deeper copper shade, and I'm just gonna kind of put that over top just to kind of make it a little less gold looking, because this does pull super gold on the eye. I think it's a pretty shade. I just want to do something that's not like, you didn't literally just see me do this look last week. I'm going to that one with my Real Techniques brush. It's just still pulling really gold on the eye, and I want this to be like more of an intense copper. And I'm taking that BH16 brush, I'm going into Oat, and I'm going to go a little bit into Spree, which is like a more mauve-y red shade with some gold shimmer into it. Just gonna see what this does to the look, and I'm using that to blend out the inner and outer corner. And I'm just going at the edges on top with that Alamar brush. And that's what I'm doing for the upper eye. I'm gonna do my face makeup and I'll be back. You can probably guess what we're about to do. Taking the brush that I did the little inner and outer corner with, pinching it, and just running it along there. Will I ever stop being boring when I do my under eye makeup? Probably not, actually. No, I don't think that'll happen. And I'm going to this shade Idle Hour, which is this lightest champagne shade in the palette. And this is, what is this? Luxie 141 mini round. This Luxie mini brush set is honestly so good for like inner eye, under eye work. Like, I love it. I'm just kind of like swirling this on the inner eye. Okay, this shade actually works really well as an inner eye highlight. Like looking at it in the pan, I was like, is this gonna work on me? But it does really well. So cool. So there is one shade that like works on its own as an inner highlight for fair skin tones, even if it's the winter. You know, us fair skinned people who just, nothing in the industry is catered to us. You know what I kind of want to do? Because this still just isn't pulling copper enough for me. I don't know what my issue is right now. I'm just annoyed that this looks so similar to the tutorial I did a couple weeks ago, and I like feel bad because that's so boring, but I don't have time to film another eye look because I'm trying to pre-film a lot of stuff before Christmas break and I'm in the middle of finals. No one needed that life story, whatever. So anyways, I'm gonna go into Revel, which is this like warm toned dark brown shimmer, as well as Fuzzy. I think the only reason Fuzzy isn't pulling like super copper is because I'm putting it over top of Designer Duds, and like Designer Duds looked like it was going to be more pinkish on the eye, and it turned out to be really gold on the eye. And like, no one cares, no one's mad at me for doing similar looks. I do similar looks all the time, but I care. So we're trying. Oh, and I really like that. That was a good choice. Okay, there we go. This is like what I wanted from the get-go. No, it's not. I wanted to do a pink shimmer shadow from the get-go. What am I talking about? Alright, it took us a little while to get here. We missed the subway stop a few times, but this is the final look. So I'm just going to talk about my thoughts on the palette for a hot second. I really like this. So first of all, you guys might be confused that I got this because I talk trash about like big palettes a lot, and so if you're like, what are you doing? That's a really fair, valid criticism. I bought this because I've been looking for a replacement for my Carly Bybel Deluxe palette. So this is an almost 3-year-old palette from BH Cosmetics. It's discontinued, and you can see they have a lot of similar colors. They're both very large, like soft, neutral palettes. I used this a couple weeks ago, and it was just very apparent to me that the mattes have expired, which duh, it's a 3-year-old palette. I'm always like shocked Pikachu meme when like my makeup actually expires, because I have some makeup that's super old and it still works perfectly, but some makeup does expire. So I've been looking for a replacement for the Carly Bybel palette, and they announced this and it looked absolutely perfect. Specifically like the dusty rose shades, like this row all along here is really what I've been looking for. I've mentioned a couple times on my channel that I really want like a nice dusty rose mauve palette lately. I have like some flitted like here and there in my collection, but I don't really have like one palette that has more than 2 or 3 nice dusty rose shades, and I've really been wanting like to do nice rose eye looks. Out of nowhere, all of a sudden, I really wanted that Physicians Formula Rose palette and couldn't find it anywhere. And I was really nervous at first because I never saw the Kathleen Light So Jaded palette in person, and I was like, oh, it's a 30 shade palette, it's gonna be huge. I hear 30 shades and I picture like those giant Morphe 35 pan palettes. It's actually not that big. I could fit this in my travel bag pretty easily, I feel, and it's like very nice and thin. Just for comparison, this is one of their 12 pan palettes like held up against it. So it's like about twice as wide and then like 1 extra row tall, which like makes sense because 24 plus 1 more row pretty much is what this is. And I think it feels really nice. Like I like this like faux leather. Why does my camera keep going out of focus? That's honestly so rude. I like this like faux leather sort of thing that's going on the front. I paid $30 for this because I got it during Black Friday and it's now $34. Both prices I think are really fair. The fact that I got this for $30 is pretty great because it's literally $1 per shadow, which is really good deal in my opinion. Their 12 pan palettes are normally $18. I think they used to be $16 and then they started making them $18, so I don't really know. So you are getting like a better deal per shadow than you are when you buy the 12 pan palettes, which is awesome, and kind of like that's how it should be when you're buying more shadows in one palette, because you don't like get to pick the color scheme or anything like 100%. I like the formula. This feels like standard Colourpop formula. I was worried that in making these bigger palettes they were going to change the formula to something that was like cheaper or easier to make, and it feels exactly like the Colourpop formula I'm used to. The shimmers are gorgeous. I love Colourpop shimmer formula, and the mattes are like very nice and blendable. So if you've ever tried Colourpop's formula and you liked it, it's up to par. The only shade that gave me any sort of trouble is when I went into Spree and it gave me a lot of fallout, and Prefix gave me a little bit of fallout as well when I went into it, but I prefer to just have fallout with the shimmers and have them be super intense and textured and metallic on the eye than I would like have it be like a nice like hard pan clean shimmer, but like you're not really getting anything from it on the eye. I think there's a lot that you can do with this. I don't think that you 100% need this. Like no one needs a neutral palette at this point in makeup world. I feel like it's nice to have like one palette that you can go to and make almost any neutral look that you want. Like looking at this, I can't really think of any true neutral looks that I couldn't do with this palette. You have your warm tones and your cool tones, and it goes from like very light to literally black down here. I feel like they could have maybe like chilled out a little bit with all these like light creamy shades in here. Like you don't really need all of those light matte shades, especially because for someone with a deeper skin tone that means there's a lot of shades in here that you can't really use in the palette. But I don't think there's ever going to be a palette that's 100% perfect unless it's a palette that you yourself are making. So I'm really happy with my decision to get this. I definitely think I'm gonna get a lot of use out of this because I've been leaning towards doing more like neutral soft glam looks a lot, and to have just like one nice neutral palette in my favorite formula from my favorite brand is really awesome. I don't think anyone, like, you don't need it, but if you like the colors in here, I think you'll be very happy with the palette for the price and how it performs. If you have any other questions about the palette, feel free to let me know down below. I'm happy to answer them. I hope that you enjoyed my 3 looks and hearing my thoughts about this palette. If you did, make sure you give this a thumbs up, and hopefully I will see you in my next video. Bye!